The game is La Reconquista, Edad Media, 8th to 15th centuries. This is from a Spanish wargaming magazine, Alea. This is actually the battle of, I've just set up the battle of, this is scenario number 12. It's called Alcoraz. Alcoraz fought in, what's it, 1096 or 1090, I'm trying to remember, 1096, yep, 1096. Pedro I of Aragon wins a memorable victory over Abdurrahman II. This is it's a game system, comes with 30 scenarios, uses generic units. So these are all generic unit types. So for example, you have, where are they? You have Suhada, these units, right? This is a unit type. They are low cost, cheap foot soldiers. You've got Mugavir. These are I guess more regular infantry. Then you have Raksala, like these units here. Okay, so these are generic unit types. This is designed for 2 players, 2 sides. These simulate the great battles of the Middle Ages, but with special attention to the Reconquista period on the Iberian Peninsula. 2 themes here for this video. One, I think this is such a great system from what I figured out from it. So, original Spanish rules, a very, very extremely rough English translation, ships with the game. I now own 2 copies for a number of reasons. I wanted to have more than 1 copy, so I have twice the number of pieces. Obviously I have 2 maps, 2 rule sets, etc. But also 2 player aids. But from what I figured out, I think it's such a great system that this would be a great game, I think, for a full professional company like GMT to pick up and produce. Why? Well, 2 reasons. One, you could do better components. Graphics are fine. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even suggest, but these are very, very thin. I mean, these are so thin, it's pretty hard to use your fingers with them. But even more importantly, with a company like GMT behind it, I'm thinking, I would hope, that you could have a full, you could have some more play testing, and you could have, also you could have additional battles added to the series, and also, most importantly, you could have a full redo of an English rule set. It just is really good. I think it's really good from what I see. Now, here's the second theme of the video. This is really not soloable. This is really not soloable. I had fun figuring out the basic mechanics earlier. I really did. Had a lot of fun. But now I was going to come back and play it again. But now I know the basic mechanics, and now I realize this really is not soloable. So why? First of all, you do have cards. There is card play. Okay, so maybe you you know, there are ways to, I guess, there are ways to work around card play, but what you really can't work around is that you also have secret play of archer counters. And the nature of the design is I really wouldn't pull out a single piece of it. It all works together. Each piece of the design by itself doesn't seem like much, but you put it together and it really works. So I wouldn't actually pull out anything. But you're supposed to have hidden archer counters that you play at a particular time in the turn. You can't. I cannot think of a workaround for that. I cannot. So before I was kind of ignoring the fact that I knew the archer counters were there to be played when they were to be played in the turn. But now that I know the basics of the mechanics, it doesn't really work. So this is a game that actually has, I would say, effectively zero solitaire suitability. Great game though. I was thinking about too, this game has some unusual mechanics to it. For example, terrain, the way terrain is handled. Now there are only 3 terrain types other than clear in this game. You have woods, you have hills or mountains, and you have fortresses. But what the effects are of these pieces of terrain on your battle is randomized. It is randomized. So here, let's see, I'll grab this. So this right here, this GABA marker is a woods marker. So first of all, the hex that it's in is woods, as well as all 6 surrounding hexes. So these 7 hexes are all woods hexes. And when you go to fight in the woods, you flip it over and you find this is the die roll modifier. And it's not only that you leave it exposed like that, you don't. At the end of the turn, you would return this to the pool. You would return, yeah, see, when I flip it over there, I can't, they're too thin. They're too thin. They are thin. Oh, man, I can't even pick them up with it. Oh, man. See, you can't. They're so thin, you gotta slide them over to the edge to get them. Oh, anyways, you return this to a pool, and you draw another random one face down. So again, you don't know what the modifier is going to be the next time. That is really cool. That is really cool. It just adds a little twist, I guess you could say. So this right now, this woods area has a 1. See, it only has a 1 modifier. This one over here has a 1 modifier over there, and you wouldn't know that until you go to fight in that terrain. That's pretty cool. You've got you've got the archer markers. You have units that have ranged fire capability, like these crossbowmen have ranged fire capability. That's kind of normal, as you would expect. But then you also have these generic archer markers that represent smaller contingents of archers throughout your lines that are not represented by counters. So you have this archer mechanic in addition to actual ranged fire units. That's pretty cool. You have more. This is really just grabbing 2 ideas off the top of my head. Really interesting design. Really deserves a full professional treatment, but not solitaire friendly.